welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that is recording this episode from inside of a Turkish prison. It's Clayton Thompson.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark.
You know, I really appreciate your dedication. We scheduled this episode a couple months ago, but you did say, hey, listen, I'm hunting for the Philosopher's Stone. I gotta find this thing, and it might take me to Turkey. I don't know what's gonna happen there, but I'll take a microphone with me in case I'm in prison. And everything you said has come true. I mean, I'm sad you got arrested, but I'm really happy that you could join me for this As Above, So Below episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, they were kind enough to give me this microphone, so I'm pretty okay with where I'm at because I love talking movies.
I mean, it's kind of cool. Didn't you have like a whole movie night with everyone in there and you watch it's pretty great experience. You won over everybody in this Turkish prison.
I've learned a lot. I've touched a lot of lives here, and I am ready to come home.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on and joining me here. And I guess if, Clayton, this is your first time on the show, but Clayton and I know each other. We worked in the Atlanta film industry. You still work in the Atlanta film industry. We kind of crossed paths on multiple sets. We stood around drinking coffee on multiple film sets while we stood around and waited for something to do. And also, I always remember we were working on Hunger Games 3, and I was dressed up as a stormtrooper, but I also had to do a job as like a production assistant. And then I went upstairs, and then you and I just, like, we had some downtime, and you and I were just chatting about writing. And you were thinking about writing scripts. I was talking about writing more. And here we are. Like, you got a movie under your belt. So I'm writing for Rotten Tomatoes, another website. So it's pretty cool. I look back to that, and we both were like, man, we got to create. We got to do something. And we did. So I think I sound like I'm patting myself on the back. But if you work in the film industry, you know how busy it is. So the fact that you can have any hobby or life, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and those moments of downtime are so great because the time all of a sudden passes. You realize you're talking about things that you're excited about, and yeah, that was a really fun conversation. It was a slow day what we were doing, but it was a lot of fun. You know, whenever you get those moments.
That was a weird day for me. That outfit was not comfortable, man.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
Yeah, and I had to wear a big cloak around it to keep it. It was an interesting day, but that's what you get when you work in the industry. So,
yep.
Now, I just have a quick question. Since we're covering As Above, So Below, a movie that I love, it only has a 28% score on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.2 on IMDb. I think it's much better than that, directed by John Eric Dowdle. I want to ask you a question. How would your character, Clayton, from the nothing, do in this scenario?
Oh, wow. You know what? That's a loaded question.
Would Clayton make it past the bones?
Clayton could make it to the bones. Oh, is that when? No, you know what? Clayton would make it to singing cult ladies that are naked and in the caverns. Yeah, I think that's where I go. Hey guys, I'm out. Hey, this is fun. Do it again next week, but not really.
Hey cops, arrest me.
I'll go to prison.
Yeah, you'll be in a French prison for a while. I mean, you're used to it.
Yeah. There's something about cults that really would turn the character of Clayton around pretty quick.
Clayton can't create in that atmosphere. Clayton needs quiet.
Right.
And so Clayton going down and hearing cults while crawling through bones and rats and bugs and just the various layers of hell, similar to Dante's Inferno, the nine circles of hell. I mean, you are you're not going to get any writing done. It's kind of a waste of time.
I will say he would appreciate the company, until like, I don't know, an hour and 20 into the movie, maybe. But he enjoyed having people around him. But yeah, he definitely didn't go on that journey. He walked home.
Now, Clayton, if you made it to the end, what sin would he have to rectify for?
Oh my gosh, Mark.
That's the ideal answer to any of my questions. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, this is a fantastic question. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a page out of most critical reviews of The Nothing and say I would rectify not making The Nothing. But that was only a joke for him because I know that as soon as you end up saying, your movie's called The Nothing, it's going to backfire on you.
Listen, man, you went out there and made something and you put yourself out there and you also, I like the theme. It's you want to get out and create. You want to find the ideal place to do it. I tried to write screenplay when I was younger, and I never got into that groove. So I could see having that obsession, that self-obsession. And so I dig it. I dug the themes of it. I got it. As someone who's tried to write and has had like really weird ideas and kind of let that drive, like I appreciate it. I didn't think it was nothing.
Thank you very much. You know, I know that usually the critics try to go for like Fast and Furious 10 ran out of gas and
I hate that, man.
Trying to play the game a little bit. No, I'm not sure what I would actually try to rectify. I'll have to come back to you on that.
All right, so we'll let you do some soul searching and so I guess getting into this movie, I'm a big fan of the Dowdles. These guys, John Eric Dowdle and his brother Drew Dowdle, they kicked off their careers with the Poughkeepsie tapes, which, you know what's interesting about that show is that I get it, or that movie, I get it, and it's done well, but it is nasty. It's nasty. Yeah. It's a mean movie.
Yes. It was definitely tough to watch, and I watched it earlier this summer, you know, in the middle of quarantine anyways, and it's like those combinations, you know, you definitely do need the shower or the walk in the sunlight afterwards. So I'll definitely attest to that.
Oh man, just some of those kills. So successful. But they moved on to Quarantine, right? Which is a remake of Wreck. And I think they did it really well. I remember going into it going, I don't know, this is a remake, yada yada. But they really did a good job. And then also Devil, I think, is a very underrated film that was sort of cursed by having M. Night Shyamalan as the producer during his sort of, what did he do? The Last Airbender, and he had just gotten off The Village. And so when people saw his name in the theater, when this trailer came on, they laughed, which hurt my soul because I really like Devil. I think it's supremely underrated. Tak Fujimoto, the guy who shot Silence of the Lambs, shot it. I love the production design. I love the choices. And also in that world, it begins upside down, and then we're jumping into As Above, So Below, which you got to go down to go up, and then the world's upside down. So they got a whole theme of upside down.
Yeah. I think this director has some love towards also descending into something, kind of going back into Quarantine, descending into something further. And between that and As Above, So Below, I think, you know, he's enamored by going into the further cave, the further cavern, and just the uncomfortability that comes with that.
Yeah, he takes him in there. Oh my gosh. And you know what's interesting about this movie? These two guys were supposed to go shoot a film. It fell through. So they got on the phone with the producer from Legendary Pictures. So his name is Thomas Toll, and he heads Legendary. And he's like, hey guys, what do you think about something in the Paris catacombs? So then they started pitching, like alchemy. They like came up with like real life characters. They came up with a real history, but then they came up with like a female hero in the vein of Indiana Jones. And the guy just went, let's do it. And then 6 months later, they were done with the film.
Wow.
This is, okay, imagine this. You and I are hanging out, and this would be glorious if this happened, but we're talking to Jason Blum, and he's like, what do you guys think? Well, you know, we want to go make a movie about Bigfoot. We hear that there's caves in North Carolina. All right, go do it. Get it done in 6 months. We'd be screwed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That would, you know, I heard you mention Willow Creek. That would, it would not be a Willow Creek.
No, I like Willow Creek. We'd have to just shoot in our backyards and try to do a Willow Creek, but not as well, because that's a good movie by Bobcat.
Yes, it is. Very likable characters. And that was what won me over for that movie for sure.
So it's crazy though. So they started writing about alchemy. They had this idea for the hero, and then they do 6 weeks of location scouts. So location scouting. And they said they had the world's best line producer who actually let them shoot in the catacombs, which was one of the first films ever allowed to go down there and shoot. They didn't quite know what film it was going to be, but when they learned they were in the catacombs, they were like, okay, well, we got to do documentary style found footage. So you have the cameras on the headlamps and the camera itself with the light, which is important to keep with you. That's why you keep it with you, because it has a light. But I think in the time they had and the resource, this was only a $5 million budget. So in that time, I think they succeeded in making a really good yarn. What do you think?
I think they did an amazing job. It is one of those movies that I do scratch my head over whenever I look at the ratings, because And I had no idea they did it that quickly. That's just crazy. I don't know how they okayed them to film in these caves. Like that is a miracle in and of itself, even if they were just sitting in a chair for, an hour and a half. Like the fact that they let them do that is cool enough.
We need that line producer, Clayton. We need to hire that line producer wherever we go.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think they turned out just a really amazing found footage film. And, I'm a big fan of those. So bring it on.
What I like the most is I remember watching this. My wife and I watched it. We had no clue what it was going to be, but it looked like a really fun concept and we wanted to go enjoy it. I love Perdita Weeks in this movie. I think her character Scarlett is so refreshing because I'm just going to wreck it. At the end, George, who is in a Turkish prison, then she convinces him to join him on this, and he gets bit in the neck by something we'll get into later, and he's dead. She decides, I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to steamroll some hell demons. I'm going to run by the devil who's in a chair. I'm going to climb up a well, a hole, just by myself. I'm going to go rectify all my sins. I'm going to put the Sorcerer's Stone back. I'm going to fix everything. Then I'm going to climb back down. I'm going to stiff arm more demons, and then I'm going to come back and heal your neck. And then they escape. It's a really neat, that never happens, Clayton. Like, she lived, she stiff-armed demons, she saved the day, and it feels weird saying this, but it's just so refreshing watching her. Like, she has her PhD, she has, she's fluent in all this, and also what I like is, I like the Goonies style of this. I like the Sahara style. I like the National Treasure Hunt. I like the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, this movie moves so fast. And I love that about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back to like the first time you see her, she's filming herself and saying, if I'm found dead, please know that I entered this country of my own free will, knowing that the punishment for trespassing is burial up to your neck and, in sand and having a rock thrown on you. But they'd have to catch me first. Like, as soon as she says, but they'd have to catch me first. So it was like, I was in on this character. I was like, this is going to be a fun character to follow in general. But yeah, she's also just not in it for the financial gain. She's just literally trying to prove that her father wasn't crazy, and you get the sense of the past with, her and George. And it was, refreshing to not watch these characters that you just want to see die for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. And so I've been watching some of the videos on this. So if I ever have to take an errand or if I'm ever working in the yard or I have some free time, I like to listen to what other people think about this film. And there's this thing, How to Survive As Above, So Below, and the ending explained, but everyone just dogpiles on Scarlett. She's not prepared. She's dumb. She's not good. But think about Ben Gates, right? He was never prepared. You just go on a mission and it takes you. Think of Ethan Hunt. Like you end up in a thing ill-prepared. Think of Indiana Jones. He never has grappling hooks and ropes on him. He just goes. Like She's the exact same as all of the other male treasure hunters. Sahara, any of them. But people are like, yeah, she goes in there and does all this. And like, it just seems very, I don't know. It's very contradictory, hypocritical that people just, and then also, like, they didn't go prepared into this. I would have gone into this cave with a line and this. They went into hell. They got into hell. Right. And, like, no line is going to take you back. Like, you're in hell. So, it's just annoying to me that people kind of hate, like, they're like Indiana Jones ripoff. It's like, no, like, Indiana Jones was a ripoff of serials back in the day. Like, Spielberg and Lucas based him off of Heroes of Yonder. I just get annoyed, and I've been talking to myself like a crazy person, like I'm hunting the Philosopher's Stone, just like, and also, right?
Why is everybody so mean to her? I don't get it.
And then also, people are like, they didn't go into the cave prepared. But see, George didn't even want to go in there. So Papillon, he offers him boots, and he turns down everything. So they're like, why doesn't he have boots? Well, he turned them down because he didn't think he would be in there. And they got tackled